Well, I need to talk about how the medical system treats people, I guess you would say, as new technology comes along. You go back to the days of the witches and sorcerers, we're talking 3,000, 4,000 years ago. There were literally tens of thousands of herbalists burned at the stake because doctors looked at them as competition. They literally burnt these women and men at the stake because they were treating people with herbs, and sometimes chanting over them. Didn't hurt them, right? But certainly when they treat them with herbs to get success, doctors would say, you're a sorcerer, they're a witch, they're against God, and so they would burn them at the stake. Then as late as the 1700s, there was a guy by the name of Semmelweis who owned a hospital in Austria, and he noticed that women who delivered their babies in the hospital had them delivered by midwives, didn't have any problems, but those who were delivered by medical doctors, 50% of them would die of childbirth fever, they called it. And the doctors would do autopsies on women who would die of childbirth fever, and then they'd wipe their bloody, pus-filled hands on their aprons, and they'd go deliver another baby, and that woman would die of it. And Semmelweis was noticing, the women who have their babies delivered by midwives who wash their hands don't die, and the women who had their babies delivered by doctors who don't wash their hands after they do autopsies, 50% die. So he says, I don't know what it is, but it's the hands. So he insisted that the doctors working in his hospital wash their hands before they deliver babies, and they declared him insane, put him in an insane asylum. He was found a couple of months later hanging by his neck until he was dead, and it was deemed to be a suicide, even though his arms and legs were tied, and there was no chair that he kicked over to hang himself. Okay, then in 1978, Dr. Joel Wallach, that's me. I was fired from Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, in the Yerkes Primate Center, a federal agency, after they had become overjoyed and sent out all these wonderful news releases that I had discovered the first non-human case of agreed upon and documented and confirmed by many, many experts, cystic fibrosis in monkeys. They fired me because they told them, hey, CF is not genetic, it's a simple nutritional deficiency during pregnancy. They fired me. Boy, I didn't have a chance to defend my findings, even like a PhD does to defend his findings. Well, then there was Jerry Lewis. Jerry Lewis, I sent him the information that I had accumulated on preventing and reversing muscular dystrophy in humans, and he took that excitedly to the muscular dystrophy medical committee, and they said, well, Jerry, we're not going to be able to raise money for research if we tell people we have the cure, and they fired Jerry Lewis. That's why Jerry Lewis hasn't been on the telethon for the last 2 years. He'll never be on the telethon again because he got excited because we had found the cure for muscular dystrophy. Well, guess what? The doctors are still burning people at the stake. They don't burn you at the stake by throwing kerosene on you and throwing a match on it, but they burn you at the stake by not letting you work in your chosen profession. And the things just don't seem to change the medical profession. I'm actually accumulating evidence and coming out with a book called Epigenetics, which is the term given to diseases that are thought to be genetic that can be prevented and cured with nutritional supplements. Hello, well, I'm considered one of the founders and fathers of this new medical specialty called epigenetics, where you can prevent and cure diseases that are thought to be genetic with supplementing with nutrients. And so I'm coming out with a book that covers all this history as well as the current status of this and shows how we've known since the Egyptians 4,000 years ago they were curing night blindness with liver juice. Well, what's in liver juice? Vitamin A. They knew that 4,000 years ago. Okay, and doctors still fight supplementing. Oh, yeah, you can overdose in them vitamins and minerals. Yet they kill, injure, and infect 15 million Americans in hospitals each year. Well, I shouldn't say this. 5.8 million in hospitals, 9.2 million in private offices and clinics. So it's 15 million of their customers, their patients, are killed, injured, and infected each year by doctors, and they get a walk because they're a monopoly. They are a protected monopoly. How many of you would fly commercial airlines if you knew that they killed, injured, and infected 15 million passengers every year? Nobody would fly. But because you have no other options, at least they thought you had no other options. Well, now because they're tripling the cost of insurance, suddenly now you do have options. It's much cheaper to come to me in Youngevity and say, hey, okay, Wallach, doctors want to do a double knee replacement on me, and I hear it doesn't work over the long haul, for $40,000 a knee, that's $80,000. And you say you can support and promote maintenance repair of my cartilage in both my knees for $3 to $5 a day, depending on my body weight, half the cost of a cup of Starbucks coffee. Yep. Give us a try. Give us 90 days. Give Youngevity 90 days. There's many reasons why we have the 90 for life program. That's our motto, 90 for life. Well, these are required nutrients, 90 of them. But give us 90 days, and you will see something. You're going to see something that's going to say, whoa, whatever he's doing, I'm an ex-diabetic now. My blood sugar has been below 80 for the last month without medication. My A1C hemoglobin dropped from 11 down to 4.3, and I'm not on any medication. I'm an ex-diabetic. And so I want you to contact your Youngevity associate. I want you to get a hold of the trilogy of books, Let's Play Doctor, Let's Play Herbal Doctor, and the Passport to Aromatherapy, and watch for it. You're going to see this book come out. The title is going to be Epigenetics, and the subtitle is The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission. The Death of the Genetic Theory of Disease Transmission. This is to come together very rapidly, and between you and Youngevity and me, you out there, our listeners, Youngevity and me, we'll be able to save America from the evil medical system, which hasn't changed in 10,000 years. They're still killing people for coming up with the truth. We'll be back after these messages. Okay, Doug, what pearls of wisdom do you have for us today?
Well, this is one that when I read it, I thought, oh, they're finally getting it. But then as I read this, I realized that once again, the mainstream media is noticing some things, but it's something that's been going on for a long time, and they're just now cluing in, and they're acting like this is something new. And it starts out with the headline of the CNN story, Is Your Hospital Hurting You? And they say that a Dr. Kiran Sagar, a cardiologist in Wisconsin, was fired a couple of months after presenting strong data that the cardiologist in the hospital where she worked had misread substantial numbers of heart tests. Similarly, a nurse at Columbia Hospital Corporation of America was let go after complaining that a doctor was performing unnecessary cardiac procedures. Even after an internal investigation found the nurse's claim to be substantiated, she was still fired. And 60 Minutes reported that ER doctors were fired for not meeting quotas on a percentage of patients they admitted to the hospital. They say patterns of firings are sending a strong message to doctors and nurses that you speak up and you risk destroying your career. They say this culture of healthcare needs to change. Medical mistakes cause too many needless deaths and harm to patients. They say few people see the problem in this context because we rarely have an open and honest conversation about the quality of healthcare in America. I guess no one's heard that wrote this article has ever heard this show. As they go,
they've never heard dead doctors.
Yeah,
lie. That's
they go, when we do, it's often behind closed doors. They say doctors and nurses increasingly feeling disconnected from policymakers, even at their own hospitals, because of these, something you and I have talked about, these mergers where these now these hospitals are giant complexes, owned by these big corporations. And they say because of this, there's sort of a disconnect between the doctors and nurses on the front lines and the people that make the policy to, basically ensure the hospital stays in business by making a profit for its shareholders. And they say even the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, says that costs will go up for consumers as these hospital mega mergers are on the rise. They go on to say that one trend that seems clear is that there are more doctors and nurses feeling frustrated. A national study by the Mayo Clinic researchers shows that doctors' burnout rate is now up to a staggering 46%. Say doctors and nurses say they now feel more like tenants working for their landlords. And in 2009, there was a CBS New York Times poll where they said 77% of Americans say they were satisfied with the quality of their health care, but what makes people think their health care is receiving good? They say very little evidence. A Harvard study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found an alarming fact that 18% of patients are actually harmed by medical care. There you go. There's your vindication, Doc, because you've been talking about that for quite a while.
Well, thank you. And, Doug, the thing that people have to do is begin to take really responsibility for their own health. Before, when people had insurance, they say, well, I really don't need to worry about it. I'm going to eat my chips and drink my beer and watch TV and eat whatever I want to eat. Doesn't matter, because if I get sick, insurance will cover it. They don't realize that by controlling what we eat, avoiding the bad stuff, the fried foods, the processed meats, the oils, and in some cases 30% of Americans need to avoid gluten, do that sort of stuff, and that alone will add 25 years to your life. And then you throw in the 90 essential nutrients, you're going to add many, many health years to your life. And certainly these are things we can do. It'll save money by avoiding eating the bad stuff, and then You're going to save money by keeping yourself healthy. Myself, and I haven't been to a doctor, with me being the patient, in 64 years. In fact, I stopped in a pharmacy yesterday to get a bunch of stuff, water, because they sell it really cheap at this particular brand name pharmacy. So I just bought a couple of cases of water, and they had one of the machines. I sat down. My blood pressure is 121 over 58, and my pulse is 43. Not too bad for a guy who never visits a doctor, has never been on a prescription medication, but takes the 90 essential nutrients twice a day since he was 9. Hello. We'll be back with more Truth, Justice, and the Longevity Way after these messages. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Gilbert, Arizona, and Wendy, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Hello, Wendy, you're on the air.
Hi, Dr. Wallach.
Hi.
I have been diagnosed in 2009 with breast cancer.
Okay.
Had chemo, radiation, and chemo again. Several surgeries, double bilateral mastectomy, the radiation and chemo. I'm now considered clear of cancer, but I can't seem to get back. I have chronic pain constantly. I have weight gain. I have restless legs, can't sleep at night, hot flashes. I have IBS. I have everything, and I cannot seem to...
Well, we're going to be able to help you. Okay? We're going to be able to help you. And, if you ever get a chance, get a hold of the pathologist records who diagnosed the breast cancer. I would like to read his description, because I'm a pathologist. I'd like to read his description and his final summary and everything, because you may or may not have had breast cancer. You may or may not have had breast cancer, okay? And so I want to read what he said, and if you can ever get a hold of your copy. It's your information. You should be able to get a hold of a copy without even having to pay for it, right? And I do this all the time for people. I actually am an expert witness in state and federal courts and things like that over these kind of things. But anyway, the fact that you have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, sets you up for all kinds of stuff. And the reason is, of course, irritable bowel syndrome is a gluten intolerance. It's a manifestation of gluten intolerance. I want you to get a hold of that CD called Serial Killers. I want you to listen to that. I want you to get a hold of the book Hell's Kitchen. And what do you weigh, Wendy?
Right now I am at 212.
Okay, and how tall are you, ma'am?
5'5".
Okay. All right. And you ever had any history of skin problems like eczema, dermatitis, or psoriasis?
No.
Any dry, itchy skin?
I have dry skin.
Okay. You ever have a history of respiratory problems when you were a kid? Asthma, chronic bronchitis, colds all the time, anything like that?
I've had asthma, but moved from California, and now that I'm in Arizona, I haven't had the problem with asthma.
Okay. Do you have children?
I do.
Do they have any health problems?
I have one that has asthma.
Okay.
Allergies.
Okay, yeah. Well, anyway, you passed it on to your children, and IBS is not a genetic thing that's passed on to your kids, but is passed on through the undigested gluten, is passed on through cord blood and breast milk, and women pass these things on to the babies, both boys and girls, but only girls can pass it on through cord blood and breast milk. Anyway, so, none of the bad stuff. And I'll rattle through this quickly. We'll go over it again when we come back after these messages. But no gluten, no wheat, barley, rye, and oats, no fried foods, no processed meats with nitrates and nitrites, no oils. And hang on, we'll give you the full story of what you can do. You're going to be a new woman here, Wendy, after these messages. Okay, Doug, let's go back to Arizona. And Wendy, at 212 pounds, 5'5", I'd like to see you more like 140, 145 pounds. We can do this simply over 6 months. Period of time. That'll be quite easy to do that for you. And again, you got to give up all gluten, no wheat, barley, rye, and oats, because you have irritable bowel syndrome. Your children have asthma. You got dry skin. All this sort of stuff that goes along with gluten intolerance. And of course, this changes your intestines, so you cannot absorb nutrients, which sets you up for everything else, including cancer and everything from depression. And you get back surgery, restless leg syndrome, and double knee replacements, all this kind of stuff. You gain weight just the opposite way you would think when you can't absorb nutrients. You can absorb calories, but you can't absorb nutrients. So, no bad stuff. No fried foods, no exceptions. No processed meats with nitrates and nitrites. That means no deli slices, sandwich meat, sausage, ham, bacon, bologna, salami, pastrami, pepperoni, jerky, corned beef, spam, canned meats, hot dogs. Absolutely no oils. It means no margarines, mayonnaise, salad dressings, cooking oils, if you eat canned fish, such as tuna, salmon, things like sardines. They got to be packed in water, mustard, or tomato sauce. They cannot be packed in oils. Then from a supplement program, this goes by body weight. So I would start you out with 2 Healthy Start packs per month, and that's going to allow you to have 1 ounce of the OsteoFX Plus, a mineral multiple, for breakfast, 1 ounce of the OsteoFX Plus at dinner time. Will allow you to have 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangerine NutriCrystals at breakfast and 2 scoops of the Beyond Tangerine NutriCrystals at dinner. That's 3 of the EFA Pluses at breakfast and 3 of the EFA Pluses at dinner. All that will be accomplished by the 2 Healthy Start packs per month. Then I'd also like you to have what we call the glucogel. Now, this is going to support and promote maintenance, repair of everything from skin to disc between your vertebrae, which will deal with the restless leg syndrome. Also, joints, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, bone makes the bone itself. And then I want you to have start out with 6 selenium a day. That's 3 at breakfast, 3 at dinner. That's 2 bottles a month to support your immune system because you have a history of cancer. I'd also have you take the de-stress capsules, 3 of those twice a day. It's 2 bottles a month, as the name implies. And then to help you lose the weight, I want you to take the ASAP. I want you to put 1 dropper full of the ASAP liquid under your tongue 30 minutes before each meal. So 1 bottle is going to last you a month. That'll be 3 droppers full a day. 1 under your tongue 30 minutes before breakfast, 1 under your tongue 30 minutes before lunch, 1 under your tongue 30 minutes before dinner time. And you'll lose anywhere from a half a pound to 2 pounds a day. Portion control is essential here. After a day of putting the ASAP in your mouth and supplementing with all these nutrients, your cravings will go away. The munchies will go away. And you can use a small 6 or 8 inch diameter salad plate for your meal plate instead of a 12 inch or 15 inch platter, meal platter for your dinner plate. And that's going to help you with portion control. Just 1 layer, please. I urge you to eat meat, but I want you to have a piece of meat the size of a deck of cards, or a piece of chicken the size of a deck of cards, piece of fish the size of a deck of cards, that kind of stuff. So you got to watch portions, and you'll be amazed at how well you do. Give me a call every 2 weeks. I want to know your weight. I want to know your bowel frequency, and do you have to take? Are you constipated? Or you need laxatives or fiber to have bowel movements, or you have diarrhea and you're living on Pepto-Bismol? I need to know all that stuff. But you're going to be a new woman here, Wendy, and you're smart. Not depend on your cancer treatment for keeping you healthy for the rest of your life. You got to do something more proactive, and God bless you, you're doing the right thing.
Now let's head to North Carolina, and Greg, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Hello, Greg, you're on the air.
Hello, Dr. Wallach. I have 2 questions in regarding to my mother that you've been helping out with the congestive heart failure. She just went into the hospital on Thursday, and doctors finally said that what she had was a urinary infection, and it caused a bit of confusion, a lot of confusion, actually. She had an inability to walk, had trouble answering questions, and so they had given her IV of antibiotics to take care of the problem, and so she seemed to be recovering very well from that, but wanted to find out if you can just give a little background on it. And 2, my family is concerned that the supplements that she's taking in the de-stress, Ultimate Daily, and Selenium has something to do with this infection that she's had. So just need you to clear that up for me.
Okay, very good questions. Well, first of all, vitamins and minerals have nothing to do with urinary infections unless she's taking them by putting them up her urethra, which is the urinary exit tube, right? Is she taking them by mouth, or is she putting them in her urinary tube?
By mouth.
Of course. So it's impossible for vitamins and minerals, which support your immune system, which would protect you from these things, to have anything to do with urinary infections. We have literally millions of people use these products every day. Nobody gets a urinary infection by taking anybody's vitamins and minerals, even from Walgreens, okay? So you can assure them that there's no connection. How old is your mom?
79.
79. Well, all things are possible. Sometimes people that age don't have the physical flexibility. They don't wipe their bottoms completely like they're supposed to after they have bowel movement. And so the bugs creep from one area of your bottom to the other area of your bottom. That's probably the most common reason for people getting urinary infections. Okay? And so they need to make sure her personal hygiene is good. She's wearing clean underwear every day. Somebody's watching her. So I don't know if she's does her own laundry and all that kind of stuff, or if she wears the same underwear for 3 days in a row. All those things come into account here. We're talking personal hygiene, particularly for women. It's the most common cause of urinary infections. Also, you can have a back problem, which cause you to have urges to urinate. You might wet your pants and things like that if you have a back problem, your lumbar area of your back, because the spinal nerves that control the urinary bladder get squeezed and they make you pee in your pants because you can't get to the toilet fast enough, kind of thing. There's all kinds of stuff there. At any rate, the fact that they gave her antibiotics and her infection went away, that's a good thing. But I would work on her personal hygiene, make sure she's wearing clean underwear every day. I'd have her wear clean cotton underwear. Don't use artificial fibers. We have a great laundry detergent. Actually, we have powder and we have a Hydro Clean and a Hydro Wash. One's a powder, one's a liquid, whichever one you prefer. And I like to throw in, especially since I'm on the road a lot and I use public and hotel washers and dryers, I use what I call Deep Cleanser. It's our Ancient Legacy. It's a blend of oils, aromatherapy oils. I'll throw about 10 drops in with my laundry, and I throw 10 drops in with the dryers, if they're electric dryers. If they're natural gas dryers, I don't throw the oils in there, but to try and make sure that everything's clean all the time. Personal hygiene is the most important thing here, okay? So getting on to the next thing, my curious question was, I'm assuming that they did an EKG with a history of congestive heart failure. They did all this wonderful workup on her when she came in. And did they say anything about the condition of her heart?
There's no evidence of blockage. They did an ultrasound. This is to check the kidneys, and everything was fine there. Echogram is what I was asking about earlier today, and they said they did not schedule one. So,
well, what about her heart? You're talking about an echocardiogram of her heart?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And so they didn't do that?
No.
Well, I'm amazed when somebody comes in with a history of congestive heart failure. That's one of the first things they should do right away, right? When somebody comes in with some emergency. Okay, so they failed to do their job properly there, so there's a negative. But at any rate, mom's doing okay. But, vitamins and minerals have nothing to do with urinary tract infections, either in men or women. And women tend to have a little bigger problem because of their anatomy. And so personal hygiene, cotton underwear instead of artificial, use the Deep Cleanser, Ancient Legacy blend of oils in with the laundry, and again, cotton underwear as opposed to artificial fibers, okay?
Okay. Now the other question is concerned in something else that happened during this period. She was falling pretty frequently, and now her knees are very stiff, and she already had problems with her one knee that was bone-on-bone arthritis.
Yeah.
And
let's stop there for a minute.
For that.
Okay, let's stop there for a minute. I have to ask, how much does she weigh?
160.
Okay, and how many glucose capsules is she taking a day?
She's not taking any right now.
Well, that's why she's got a knee problem. You can't maintain cartilage in your knees without raw materials. Your cartilage goes away on a daily basis just like your skin goes away. I mean, every little kid knows your skin goes away every 28 days, and if you're not taking in the right nutrients, you can't replace your skin. You get eczema, dermatitis, and all that kind of terrible stuff, right? Same thing is true with your intestines. Same thing is true with your kidneys. Same thing is true with your heart and your liver and your cartilage and ligaments and tendons and bones. And so if you expect her to get well at 160 pounds, really, regardless of age, regardless of height, if she weighs 140 to 160 pounds, especially since she has clinical disease of bone-to-bone arthritis, she's going to need 2 Healthy Start packs per month. She's going to need 2 large bottles of glucogel a month, 2 of the 240 bottles of glucogel a month, so she can take 15 a day. Now, once the range of motion comes back, the pain is gone, no noise in her joints, no pain, she'll be able to cut it back down to 5 twice a day, be able to cut it by 30%, and that'll be a maintenance. You know, I've been doing this for a long time. I take 5 glucogel twice a day just for prevention. Just for prevention. Because if you don't, you can't get enough of this stuff out of your food. So give me a call as things go along here, but you got to up her supplements. Mom, if you love your mom, you got to up her supplements. Okay, Doug, let's go to callers.
Let's head to Missouri. And Bonnie, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Well, Bonnie, you're on the air.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Wallach. I have a lady at church, and her husband in the 80s had got Bell's palsy, and now it came back, and as they were checking into that through an MRI, they found a brainstem tumor. So he weighs about 205 and
now, is he having? Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
Does he have, other than Bell's palsy, does he have any other symptoms of a brain tumor?
Well, they saw it on the MRI on the front lobe, I guess, brainstem tumor.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, Bell's palsy is actually a squeezing or inflammation of the seventh cranial nerve, the facial nerve is called. That side of the face droops, and to the uninitiated, it might look like you had a stroke there, right? And it can be caused simply by osteoporosis, which is not unusual in an 80-pound man or woman, or 80-year-old man or woman. It's not unusual to have osteoporosis unless they're taking the 90 essential nutrients. And here's a case where it could be that the Bell's palsy is due to osteoporosis of the skull, and that the, quote, tumor, unquote, is really asymptomatic, has nothing to do with the Bell's palsy or anything else. It's just an incidental finding he could have had since he was born. And so what I would want is a second opinion from another radiologist who works at a different radiology lab, and look at the MRI and say, give his impression, and then call me back with that. But then hang on, and we'll tell you what we can do for the Bell's palsy and get his immune system up and all that kind of stuff after these messages. With Dead Doctors Don't Lie on the ZBS Radio Network. Dr. Joel Wallach here for Longevity in the 90 for Life Crusade. And Doug, let's go right back to Missouri. And Bonnie, okay, 205-pound guy, 80 years old, has Bell's palsy. Here's what I would do. I would give him 2 Healthy Start packs per month, 1 full dose of each of the 3 products at breakfast, 1 full dose of each of the 3 products at dinner time. I would also give him the glucogel, 15 of those a day, 5 at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's 2 of the large 240-count bottles of glucogel. And the purpose, of course, is to support and promote maintenance, repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, bone matrix, bone itself. Then I would throw in the 3 EFA plus, 3 of the de-stress capsules. 3 of the de-stress capsules at breakfast, 3 at dinner. And that is for supporting health and metabolism and regeneration of the nerves, including the 7th cranial nerve here for the Bell's palsy. And also for brain metabolism, since there's something in the brainstem, tumor, I don't know what that means. I need a name of the tumor. There's all kinds of benign things that go on that can be called a tumor. You can get an abscess in your skin. Doctors call it a tumor because they like that word because it scares people into doing treatment. And so I want to know the diagnoses of whatever it is they're seeing in the brainstem. I want to know the name of it, not just the word tumor. That's too generic. That's like saying vehicle. We're talking about a space vehicle. We're talking about a car on the road. We're talking about a tractor in the farm field. We're talking about a bus. We're talking about a boat. We're talking about an airplane with props, airplane with jet engines. I want to know what tumor means. Give me a call back. And but anyway, this gives you something to do for him. So keep him away from all the bad stuff. No fried foods, no processed meats, no nitrites, and absolutely no oils of any kind. Okay, Doug, let's see if we can squish in one more.
All right, let's head to Miami, Florida. And Julie, you're on with Dr. Wallach.
Hello, Julie. We only have moments here, so let's get with it, girl.
Yes, good afternoon, Dr. Wallach. I'm calling on behalf of my mother and my son. My mother is 72, and she has had 4 strokes. She has a leak in her heart. She has atrial fibrillation, so they put her on warfarin. High blood pressure is always an issue. She's been treated with 2 medications that doctors...
Wait, okay, that's enough for me. Let's work on your mom here a minute. She's had a stroke, AFib, she got high blood pressure, she got a heart valve problem, right?
Failure.
Congestive heart failure?
Yes, and she has problems with thyroid.
She got low thyroid, okay.
And
how much does she weigh?
She whistle, and she cannot breathe properly, so they have put also albuterol and
okay, I got medication. It. Does she have any skin problems, any dry skin, eczema, dermatitis?
She was diagnosed with dermatomyositis.
Okay, good. All right, so here's what I want you to do. What does your mom weigh?
She is 200 pounds.
Okay, and how tall is she?
She's 5'1".
Okay, so here's what I want you to do. She's got to get rid of all the bad stuff. In her particular case, it's imperative she stays away from gluten. No wheat, barley, rye, or oats. No wheat, barley, rye, and oats. You can call me tomorrow and we'll spend more time on that. But no wheat, barley. Throw it out today. Don't let her have another mouthful. Absolutely no processed meats or nitrates, no nitrites, no oils. And also, because she has a thyroid problem, she's got to give up cruciferous vegetables. It means no cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, or kale. Now, this goes by body weight. AFib is not a heart problem. Although she has congestive heart failure, AFib is a different thing. It's actually caused by a back problem. And let's see here. I want her to have 2 Healthy Start packs per month. That's 1 full dose of each of the 3 products at breakfast, 1 full dose of each of the 3 products at dinner time. Because of congestive heart failure, I want her to have 3 of the de-stress capsules 3 times a day. That's 3 bottles a month. That'll be 9 of those capsules a day, 3 bottles a month, 3 at breakfast, 3 at lunch, 3 at dinner. I want her to have the Ultimate Daily Tablets 3 twice a day. That's 1 bottle a month. That's for circulation in the heart and also blood pressure and also for the stroke. And let's see here. For the low thyroid, I want her to have what's called Ocean's Gold. I want her to have 3 of those tablets twice a day. That'll be 2 bottles a month of the Ocean's Gold. And then call me tomorrow. We can spend a little more time because I want to go over the congestive heart failure. I want to go over her weight thing. We can talk about her weight thing, which I can help her quite a bit. But I want to spend some time on that. And I would also want to go over the AFib, which is not a heart problem, although doctors will run up $500,000 worth of bills on the heart if you let them. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Really, really great questions today. Great testimonies. Thank you so much. Thank you, Doug and Billy. Superlative job as usual. God bless each and every one of you. God bless our troops. God bless our Navy SEALs. And God bless America.